savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
That wasn't just a meltdown, it was a manifesto. And years later in court, that same energy exploded. Diddy charged at a witness so violently that security had to rush in and restrain him. But this rage, it didn't just show up in that courtroom. It had been boiling for years. Because even after he was arrested, there were secret prison calls, hush money deals run through his own mother, and then came Cassie's testimony. And what she revealed took this case from dark to unthinkable. Let me catch you up. The witness tampering. Let's start with something truly shocking. According to court documents, Diddy has been allegedly contacting witnesses from prison. Yes, you heard that right. The man is behind bars, and he's still trying to pull strings like a puppet master. The prosecutors described his efforts as relentless attempts to corruptly influence witness testimony. That's not just crossing a line, that's jumping over it, doing a backflip, and landing in criminal territory. How was he doing this? Well, apparently he was using other inmates' phone accounts to make calls, which is against prison regulations. That's like borrowing someone else's ID to get into a club when you're underage, except, you know, way more illegal and with way bigger consequences. He was allegedly directing others to orchestrate payment for access, creating this whole underground network just so he could reach out to potential witnesses who might testify against him. But wait, it gets worse. He wasn't just reaching out to witnesses himself, he was also allegedly instructing his family members to contact potential witnesses. Using your mama to do your dirty work, that's low, even for someone facing serious charges. His mother, Janice Combs, was actually named in a lawsuit for allegedly pressuring an accuser to accept hush money. Imagine having your mother participate in silencing people who were allegedly hurt by you. That's not motherly love. That's enabling abuse. Diddy also allegedly orchestrated social media posts, such as drafting an Instagram statement with witness to via text and calls from prison to counter allegations by Dawn Richard. And get this, prosecutors allege that he paid this witness after they posted the statement. Buying people's loyalty? That's not how the justice system is supposed to work, Diddy. He even went as far as monitoring the analytics of a birthday video posted by his 7 children, discussing with his family how it would affect potential jury members. That's some next level manipulation, trying to influence public opinion before the trial even started. These actions were cited in his bail denial, with prosecutors arguing that Diddy's uncanny ability to get others to do his bidding, whether it's employees, family members, or inmates, demonstrated a significant risk of witness tampering. The judge agreed that no conditions could eliminate these risks. In other words, they knew that if they let him out, he'd be on the phone faster than you can say bad boy for life, trying to influence everyone involved in the case. Now let's talk about the conspiracy theories surrounding this case, because they are wild. One of the most talked about involves a man named Jonathan Oddie. In 2018, Oddie was arrested for shooting at Trump's Doral, Miami resort. During his interrogation, he made some explosive claims. He said he was a slave for both Diddy and Cassie. He alleged that Diddy would instruct him on actions with Cassie during their encounters. Oddie also claimed that he signed a $5 million NDA with Diddy in July 2014. His ex-wife, Tanya Troutwine, corroborated this, linking it to their 2014 divorce and Oddie's subsequent cash purchases of properties. Initially, people dismissed Oddie's claims as delusions due to his mental state and the violent incident at the resort. But here's where it gets interesting. Cassie's testimony during the trial has been interpreted as confirming Oddie's involvement in encounters with Diddy. Some people on social media are saying this is proof that another conspiracy theory has turned out to be true. One ex-user at MLC Patriot posted on May 14th, 2025, with Cassie Ventura's testimony in the Diddy trials, it looks like another conspiracy theory is true. It's giving where there's smoke, there's fire energy. And in this case, there's enough smoke to fill a stadium. There are also theories that Diddy's behavior was an open secret in the music industry, with other powerful figures possibly enabling or covering it up. This includes speculation about other celebrities and executives, suggesting a network of silence that allowed such actions to persist for years. It's not hard to believe, given how many times we've seen powerful people get away with terrible things because they're protected by even more powerful people. Some theories extend to a broader network of abuse within the entertainment industry, with Cassie as just one of the victims. These ideas suggest Diddy's actions are part of a larger systemic issue, though the evidence is often circumstantial and debated. But when you look at the pattern of behavior that's been alleged, not just with Cassie, but with multiple women, it's hard not to wonder how deep this rabbit hole goes. Now, let's talk about another key detail from the trial, an alleged third victim who's been uncooperative with prosecutors. According to sources, this woman has been described as victim 3 in the indictment, and she's an ex-girlfriend of Diddy's. The prosecutors have been having trouble getting her to testify, with rumors that she's been uncooperative from the beginning.
They have described her, they've said this is victim 3 in the indictment. She is, we know, an ex-girlfriend, know that she's an ex-girlfriend. Right. And there was a whole exchange about her in court this week where they said, we're having trouble getting her to come in, that she has some conflict, she's got things going on in her personal life, And it was described by the government as almost like she wants to be here, but we're not sure we're going to be able to get her here. We're talking to her lawyer.
Why would someone be reluctant to testify against an alleged abuser? Well, there could be many reasons. Fear of retaliation, concern for personal safety, worry about public scrutiny, or maybe, just maybe, they've been contacted by Diddy or someone in his circle, pressuring them to stay silent. It wouldn't be the first time a powerful person has used their influence to keep victims quiet. This missing witness could be a major blow to the prosecution's case. As one legal expert pointed out,
and they've added them because they knew they needed to bolster their case beyond Cassie, because he can always say, I was in a long-term relationship with Cassie.
In other words, the prosecutors need multiple victims to establish a pattern of behavior to show that this wasn't just a toxic relationship with Cassie, but a systematic way that Diddy treated women. Without victim 3, their case could be weakened, which might explain why they're so desperate to get her on the stand. There's also been some wild behavior from Diddy during the trial itself. On the first day, he was spotted reading from a Bible at the defense table before opening statements. Now, I'm not saying people can't find religion during tough times, but the timing feels convenient. Like when your teacher catches you passing notes in class and suddenly you're the most attentive student ever. It's giving too little, too late energy. Social media users were quick to call this out as a transparent strategy to appear sympathetic to the jury. One ex-user commented, "Nobody's falling for that after the massive amounts of baby oil," referring to the over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant allegedly seized from Diddy's residences. Another said, "People who do this in public for show are definitely not real Christians. The cynicism is real, and honestly, can you blame people? It's like when a celebrity gets caught doing something terrible and suddenly they're checking into rehab or donating to charity. We see through those tactics now. We understand that they're not expressions of genuine remorse. They're calculated moves to salvage a public image that's been rightfully damaged by their own actions." But perhaps the most unsettling detail about how Diddy treats witnesses came from the testimony about the hotel incident. The security officer who responded to Cassie's call for help testified that Diddy had a devilish stare on his face when he came out of the elevator. That's not the description of someone who's remorseful. That's not the face of someone who made a mistake. That's the look of someone who's angry that they got caught, angry that their control is being challenged. And then, according to the security officer, Diddy allegedly offered him money to keep quiet about what happened. The officer claimed he didn't take the money, but the mere offer speaks volumes about how Diddy handles situations where he might be exposed. He throws money at the problem. He tries to buy silence. He uses his wealth as a shield against accountability.
He says he went back upstairs to talk to Puff and explain to him the rules of the hotel and that he had to pay for some things. And Diddy had this like devilish stare on his face when he came out of the elevator at one point, and that Diddy allegedly offered him money. So the man is saying that Diddy offered him money because he didn't want any of this to come out, because for her and for him.
But Diddy's defense team, led by Brian Still, tried to discredit this testimony by pointing out inconsistencies in the security officer's incident report. They questioned why he didn't include certain details in his original report, like Cassie having a purple eye or a man being inside their hotel room. They also highlighted that the officer took videos on his phone of the aftermath and sent them to his wife, suggesting he was fanned out rather than genuinely concerned about what happened.
So Brian Still was like, okay, well, you told us that when you do your incident reports, you got to report the W's, where, what, why, who, like all the details. So he goes into the incident report and he says to him, he says, the incident reports are important, right? Because when we're recounting these things, we're relying on your report. So everything in your report is valid because y'all depend on that. He's like, yeah.
It's a classic defense strategy. Attack the credibility of the witnesses. Make them seem unreliable, inconsistent, or biased. But here's the thing. Even if the security officer didn't include every detail in his report, even if he was excited to tell people he'd encountered a celebrity, the video speaks for itself. We've all seen the footage of Diddy assaulting Cassie. No amount of legal maneuvering can erase that evidence. The control freak and his victim. Now let's talk about the star of this horrific show, Cassie Ventura. This woman, who is now pregnant and about to have a baby in June, has been through absolute hell, according to her testimony. When she took the stand on May 13th, it was reportedly the first time she'd seen Diddy since 2018.
You know, attorneys say that this is the first time that they've met since 2018 when she attended the funeral for Kim Porter, which is the mother of Sean Combs' 3 children.
Can you imagine having to face your abuser in court while being pregnant? The strength this woman has shown is absolutely incredible. I'm sitting here thinking, if that was me, I would be shaking in my boots. But Cassie walked in with her head held high, looking like the queen she is.
When she walked in there, Rachel, she had on a brown dress, form-fitting, visibly pregnant. head held high, and did not make any eye contact with the defendant, with Sean Combs.
When we talk about how Diddy treats witnesses, we have to start with the most damning evidence. That horrific video showing him physically assaulting Cassie in a hotel hallway back in 2016. Y'all, this isn't just a little argument. This is a man dragging a woman, throwing things at her, stomping on her. It's the kind of footage that makes you want to throw your phone across the room because it's so disturbing. You know what's wild? Diddy's defense team is trying to spin this video like it was just some regular argument between a couple. They're really out here saying this wasn't about forcing her to stay for one of those special parties, but instead was an argument about Diddy having another woman's number in his phone. Like that somehow makes it better? Child, please.
He said that Diddy offered him a ton of money, and to that, Brian still...
it was a stack.
Yeah, he said he came out with a huge stack of money, and he didn't offer it.
Speaking of the video, let's talk about the security officer who was there that night. He testified that when Cassie called for help, he found her in distress, saying repeatedly, "I want to leave, I want to leave, I want to leave." And you know what Diddy allegedly said? No, she's not going anywhere. That's not a man in a relationship. That's a kidnapper. That's a controller. That's someone who thinks they own another human being. The security officer also said that Diddy offered him money to keep quiet. Now, why would an innocent man need to pay people off? I'll tell you why. Because he's not innocent. He's trying to cover up his tracks, trying to make sure his reputation doesn't get tarnished. But it's too late for that, Diddy. The world sees you now. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of how Diddy allegedly controlled Cassie during their relationship. This is where it gets really disturbing, y'all. According to Cassie's testimony, Diddy controlled everything, from what she wore to who she talked to even the color of her nails. I'm talking about a man who wanted white or French tip nails on this woman at all times. Like, sir, are you her boyfriend or her dictator?
The prosecution is asking her questions to show that she wasn't in control. She said that Sean Combs directed everything from what she had on to the lighting in the room to how she was supposed to interact with the person that she was having sex with.
And then there's the most disturbing part, the freak-offs. Now, I'm gonna keep this as PG as possible because we've got young viewers, but essentially these were situations where Cassie was allegedly forced to engage in intimate activities with other people while Diddy watched. Cassie testified that these events could last up to 4 days. Y'all, 4 days. Can you imagine being forced to do something you don't want to do for that long? And the aftermath was so severe that she needed IV fluids afterward. Cassie also testified that she suffered frequent and painful health issues as a result of these freak-offs. She had urinary tract infections so severe that antibiotics sometimes stopped working. She developed oral sores and stomach problems from the drugs and physical exertion involved. This isn't just abuse, it's torture. It's using another human being's body with complete disregard for their well-being. What's even more heartbreaking is when Cassie was asked if she ever enjoyed these situations, she broke down crying and said she only did because it meant she got to spend one-on-one time with Diddy. That's what psychological abuse looks like, folks. That's what happens when someone breaks you down so completely that you start to associate abuse with love.
When the prosecution asked her, was there ever a time that you enjoyed the freak-offs? This is when Cassie got choked up and she said, I did, but only because I got to spend one-on-one time with Combs, and I really did love him.
Let me tell you something. That's not love. That's not what love looks like. Love doesn't hurt you. Love doesn't control you. Love doesn't make you feel dirty after. Cassie testified that after the first freak-off, she felt dirty and didn't want to do it again. She even tried to bring it up in an email, but Diddy shut her down, and she ended up backpedaling because she was afraid.
And what I thought was also interesting is she said that after that first freak-off, she said she felt dirty. She didn't want to do it. And when she brought up the idea of having a conversation about the freak-offs in an email, which the jurors saw, she said she backpedaled in the email because Combs responded by saying, I know, you don't want to do it. And she said, oh no, well, it's not that. But that was the beginning. That was in 2010, where she brings up in an email that she wanted to have a conversation about this. And in her words, she didn't want to do it, but she felt like she had to do it.
Cassie was only 22 years old when this started, y'all. 22, a baby. Meanwhile, Diddy was a grown man, a powerful music mogul with all the connections and influence in the world. The power imbalance here is off the charts. She was young, trying to build her career in the music industry, and she had signed a 10-album deal with Diddy's Bad Boy Entertainment. He held her entire future in his hands, and he knew it.
Yet, she's definitely laying out someone who was young, who was influenced by wanting to have this record career. She signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Entertainment, led by Sean Combs, and basically describes being enamored by Sean Combs, loving him, not knowing about certain things, and him sort of telling her, teaching her about that.
This case is really showing us the ugly side of the music industry, showing us how power can be used to manipulate, control, and abuse. It's showing us that even the people we idolize, the people we think have it all, can be monsters behind closed doors. And the worst part, the jurors were shown photos of injuries that Cassie sustained during their relationship. According to the testimony, she had knots on her forehead, busted lips, black eyes, and bruises. This wasn't just a one-time thing. This was a pattern of abuse that spanned years. The trial and the truth. First things first, let's talk about Diddy's appearance in court. The man is really trying to rebrand himself for this trial, looking nothing like the flashy, blinged-out mogul we're used to seeing. Instead, he's showing up with gray hair, glasses, and wearing sweaters, basically trying to look as non-threatening as possible. One commentator noted,
I've talked about before how appearance makes a difference in cases. How Diddy's appearance, wearing a sweater, having gray hair and glasses and whatnot, you know, that it's all designed for something.
It's like when a wolf puts on sheep's clothing, trying to fool everyone into thinking he's harmless. But we see you, Diddy. No amount of cashmere and reading glasses can erase what we've all seen in that video. And speaking of appearances, Diddy's family has been showing up to court to support him, including his mother and his children. There was even a moment outside the courthouse where they were seen in what looked like a prayer circle, chanting things like, "Break to the Most High" and "Go seek his face." Talk about a PR strategy. It's giving "Please, Lord, let the jury forget what they've seen" energy.
Pray to the Most High, Jesus Christ. Pray to God. Pray to God. Seek his face. Like he said.
How has it been inside court?
What's particularly interesting is how Diddy has been reacting to the testimony against him, especially Cassie's. When she first entered the courtroom, he reportedly turned to look at her, while she kept her gaze forward, refusing to acknowledge him. Can you imagine the strength that takes? To walk into a room with someone who allegedly abused you for years and not even give them the satisfaction of eye contact? Cassie is a queen for that. During her testimony, Diddy was described as listening intently to everything she had to say. I bet he was. I bet he was hanging on every word, wondering what secret she was going to spill, what details she was going to reveal about the man behind the public persona.
I can tell you that immediately, the moment she opened her mouth, you could see that Combs was listening intently to everything that she has to say, as well as those jurors.
But despite his attentive listening, there haven't been many reports of visible reactions from Diddy during the testimony. It's like he's wearing a mask, trying to control his emotions just like he allegedly tried to control everyone around him. But you know what they say, still waters run deep. Just because he's not showing emotion doesn't mean he's not feeling it. And trust me, with the kind of testimony that's been given, he's feeling it. Now let's talk about the defense strategy, because it's something else. Diddy's legal team, led by attorneys Mark Agnifilo and Tenny Geragos, is arguing that all encounters were consensual. They're trying to paint the picture that Cassie and Diddy had a mutually agreed upon lifestyle and that there was no coercion involved. They're even going as far as to say the infamous 2016 video has been doctored. But here's where they're in a tough spot. How do you aggressively cross-examine a pregnant woman without coming across as a complete villain? Many legal experts are pointing out this conundrum.
And it will be difficult for Diddy's attorney, whoever's doing the cross-examining, to push her. You can't, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go back against her. You can't refute things she's saying and be aggressive with her.
It's like trying to walk through a minefield while wearing bowling shoes. Nearly impossible to do without making a major misstep. And the defense knows this. That's why some experts are speculating they might take a different approach. But even if they don't aggressively cross-examine Cassie, the damage has already been done. Her testimony has painted a vivid picture of the alleged abuse she endured, and the jury is listening. Speaking of the jury, they're reportedly laser-focused on what Cassie has to say. After all, she was in a relationship with Diddy for over a decade. She's seen things, experienced things that no one else on the stand has.
The jurors are laser focused on what Cassie has to say, and that's to be expected, right? Because she is the person who will likely be on the stand, according to attorneys, for 2, maybe 3 days.
The jury in this case consists of 8 men and 4 women from diverse professions, and they're the ones who will ultimately decide Diddy's fate. With such serious charges on the table, including trafficking and racketeering, Diddy is looking at a potential life sentence if convicted. That's right, life, as in spending the rest of his days behind bars, which, if the allegations are true, seems like a pretty fitting punishment. But let's take a step back and look at the broader implications of this trial. It's not just about Diddy and Cassie. It's about power dynamics in the music industry as a whole. It's about how celebrities can use their influence to silence victims, how they can create a web of protection around themselves that makes it nearly impossible for the truth to come out. The allegations against Diddy suggest he turned his hip-hop conglomerate into a racketeering enterprise, forcing women to satisfy his desires over 2 decades. This isn't just about one bad relationship, it's about a systematic abuse of power, a calculated method of control and exploitation. And if these allegations are proven true, it could send shockwaves through the entire industry, potentially leading to more victims coming forward with their own stories of abuse. One of the most powerful moments of the trial so far was when Cassie described herself as someone who was trying to figure out who she was at that time and who she was allowed to be. That phrase, who she was allowed to be, is so telling. It speaks to the level of control Diddy allegedly had over her, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically as well.
As to what type of witness she's coming off as, she's describing someone that she was, someone she said that was trying to figure out who she was at that time and who she was allowed to be. Now you're looking at somebody that's almost 40 years old, totally different person, but even in describing what was going on at her at that time, taking drugs, trying to please Sean Combs, she's really just sort of laying out the case for her not having a lot of control.
As Cassie continues her testimony, which is expected to last for 2 or 3 days, we're likely to hear even more disturbing details about their relationship. And while it's undoubtedly painful for her to recount these experiences, there's also a kind of power in speaking your truth, in naming your abuser, in shedding light on the darkness that once consumed your life. Cassie's husband has been by her side throughout the trial, sitting just a few rows behind her in the courtroom. It's a powerful contrast. The man who allegedly abused her for years, and the man who now supports her as she tells her story. It's a reminder that there is life after abuse, that victims can heal, can find love again, can rebuild what was broken. Now, there's been some debate about how the first day of the trial went, with some commentators suggesting that Diddy's defense team won the first day, but I'm not so sure about that. Yes, they managed to create some doubt about the security officer's testimony, but the video of Diddy assaulting Cassie remains a powerful piece of evidence that's hard to explain away.
So if it's day one, who do you give the score to?
Diddy's team took day one.
And as one commentator pointed out, no matter how good the defense is, there's no escaping the impact of that video.
You know what's interesting? There's nothing they can do or say that is going to minimize what people saw in that video. And I know that they're trying to keep a different narrative, but
yes,
if you've seen that video, you're not going to forget that video.
It's like trying to convince people that water isn't wet. You can argue all you want, but the evidence is right there, undeniable and unmistakable. Peace out. Check out our other videos by clicking on the screen. The glitz and glamour of Hollywood often hide the darkest of secrets, but every now and then, the truth begins to unravel. And when it does, it shakes the very core of Tinseltown. Right now, all eyes are on one man, Sean Diddy Combs. After years of flying high in both music and entertainment, a wave of unsettling allegations has come crashing down. Just a while ago, Hollywood's power players sent a chilling warning to Diddy, signaling that the once untouchable mogul might be facing his biggest challenge yet. In this video, we'll unpack the latest developments around Diddy's case, the eerie silence from Hollywood's elite, and the shocking claims that comedian Rosie O'Donnell has just brought to the forefront, accusing Diddy of unthinkable acts. Sit tight, because what we're about to reveal may change everything you thought you knew about one of the most iconic figures in pop culture. Hollywood's warning. The arrest of Sean Diddy Combs feels like a seismic shock in Hollywood, a world that has long been criticized for enabling its stars to live in a bubble of impunity. As a kingpin in the entertainment industry, Diddy's fall from grace exposes the long whispered secrets that many in Hollywood have tried to bury. But this arrest was not just a legal moment. It sparked a wave of reactions, each louder than the next, from the most unexpected corners of the industry. It almost feels like Hollywood has been waiting for this moment, a collective reckoning where those who've lived in fear or frustration are finally saying it's about time. If anyone thinks this is just about Diddy, think again. Hollywood's message is clear. No one is untouchable. Take 50 Cent, for example. If there's one thing we know about him, it's that he loves a good feud, and his long-standing rivalry with Diddy gave him plenty of ammunition. The moment Diddy's arrest hit the news, 50 was all over social media, cracking jokes and sprinkling in just the right amount of sarcasm. He even took shots at the bizarre details that emerged, like the alleged discovery of 1,000 bottles of baby oil in Diddy's home. In this tweet, he mentioned, "Here I am keeping good company with at the Drew Barrymore show, and I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house." Typical 50, right? But behind the humor, his message was serious. In his usual "I told you so" style, 50's reaction underscored what many others feel, that this arrest was a reckoning Diddy had coming for years. It's the kind of mocking that says, this guy's been playing the game too long and now it's caught up with him. 50 Cent, in his way, echoed a sentiment that Hollywood has been hinting at. No matter how powerful, sooner or later, there's a reckoning. But not everyone took the comedic route. Charlamagne Tha God, one of the most respected voices in radio, went straight for the jugular. On The Breakfast Club, Charlamagne didn't mince words. He warned that that Diddy's arrest could be the tip of the iceberg, suggesting that others who participated in Diddy's notorious freak-off parties could find themselves under legal scrutiny. Charlamagne's tone was grim. It's almost as if he was delivering a public service announcement. He had racketeering and sex trafficking. If he gets racketeering and sex trafficking for freak-offs, it will be others involved. Like if you ever ran a train with Diddy, you're probably going to jail. If you ever been butt naked anywhere with Diddy, or half butt naked with Diddy, and there was some women around or some men around that he told you were part of the party, you're probably going to jail. His message resonated with the notion that this isn't just a single scandal, it's a potential domino effect. Imagine the sweat breaking out on the brows of others who've lived similarly excessive lives. Could Diddy's arrest mark the beginning of Hollywood's reckoning? Charlamagne seems to think so. Then there's Jemele Hill, a journalist unafraid to speak truth to power. Hill's reaction cut to the heart of the issue, reminding everyone that beneath the glitz and glamour, real victims exist, particularly black women. Hill's plea was for justice for the women who may have suffered in silence due to Diddy's alleged actions. Her words hit a nerve in an industry that often values star power over human dignity. I know everybody's going to get these jokes off about Diddy, and by extension R. Kelly, but think of the numerous black women whose lives were ruined by these horrendous people, Hill wrote on X, formerly Twitter. She further stated, "The narrative is not, another black man got taken down, because this ain't got shit to do with black men as a whole. The narrative is, thank God these women are finally getting the justice they deserve." Her reaction elevates the conversation beyond just celebrity gossip. It's a sobering reminder that there are deeper societal issues at play. But in typical Hollywood fashion, not all reactions were straightforward. Foxy Brown's cryptic social media post added an air of mystery to the situation. If you read between the lines, you might think Foxy was hinting at more bombshells to come. Is there more dirt on Diddy or others that we haven't even begun to unearth? Foxy's post set tongues wagging, and now everyone is wondering what new skeletons could tumble out of Hollywood's closet. Brown's cryptic tone was almost like an omen. Brown took to her Instagram story to write, "About to really get crazy. This is just the beginning." If there's one thing we know about Hollywood scandals, it's that they tend to snowball. Could we be on the brink of more jaw-dropping revelations? Serena Williams, always the voice of reason and justice, took a more measured approach. Serena didn't offer up cryptic warnings or humorous jabs. Instead, she emphasized her hope for a fair outcome in the courtroom. With her status as an international icon and a champion for justice, her words carried weight. "And now I hope justice is finally served," Serena replied to a new post that covered Diddy's arrest. Her reaction reminded us that fame doesn't put anyone above the law. At a time when celebrities often seem immune to consequences, Serena's grounded perspective was refreshing. She wasn't reveling in the downfall of a star. She was reminding us that the law applies to all, even those perched on Hollywood's highest pedestals. Aubrey O'Day, meanwhile, was having a bit of a mic drop moment. Having long spoken out about her troubling experiences with Diddy, O'Day felt a sense of vindication. Her emotional reaction was palpable, almost like a sigh of relief, as if she had been waiting for years for someone to finally listen. The purpose of justice is to provide an ending and allow us the space to create a new chapter. Women never get this. I feel validated. Today is a win for women all over the world, not just me, she wrote. For Aubrey, this wasn't just a news story, it was personal. I never thought I would see this day. We all buried this inside of us in order to be able to keep going, she said. And not just me, but victims you don't even know yet. We are all processing what that type of vindication can actually feel like now. Every conversation I've had with victims last night has been beyond moving on all levels. In a world where so many people in Hollywood suffer in silence, O'Day's validation might give others the courage to come forward with their stories. But in true Hollywood fashion, there's always someone willing to swim against the current. Enter Boosie Badass, who didn't see what all the fuss was about. Downplaying the severity of Diddy's actions, Boosie sparked a fiery debate by claiming on this tweet that what Diddy did wasn't all that different from what other entertainers have done. His controversial take made some fans nod in agreement while others furiously scrolled past. Boosie's reaction reflects a certain segment of Hollywood that still clings to its old ways, unwilling to accept that change is on the horizon. And what a horizon it is. The reactions to Diddy's arrest have set Hollywood abuzz with speculation, gossip, and a fair share of schadenfreude. But this moment is bigger than just one celebrity facing charges. It's a warning shot to the entire entertainment industry. If Diddy, a titan of music and entertainment, can be brought down, who's next? Hollywood, it seems, is cleaning house. The days of stars living unchecked lives are over, or at least they should be. And now, away from the furious yet stern reactions from Hollywood big shots, what other recent developments have come around Diddy's case? Let's find out. Recent developments. P. Diddy's legal saga has become the talk of the entertainment industry, with every new revelation adding more complexity to an already convoluted defense strategy. Imagine being at the center of it: new lawsuits, shocking allegations, and a growing number of accusations that seem to pile on relentlessly. That's the world Diddy, or Sean Combs, finds himself in, and his legal team must feel like they're playing a never-ending game of legal whack-a-mole. Each time they manage to knock one allegation down, another pops up with even more sensational claims. At the heart of the controversy is the explosive documentary The Downfall of Diddy, which recently premiered on Tubi and is damaging Diddy's reputation more than any tabloid could. This isn't your typical documentary. It was produced by none other than TMZ. Yes, the same outlet famous for breaking celebrity scandals. The film features rare testimonies and alleged first-hand accounts from individuals who were once close to Diddy, including former associates like Aubrey O'Day, Stevie J, and Mark Curry. Even Suge Knight, a figure synonymous with the darker side of the rap industry, makes an appearance, adding fuel to the already blazing fire. It's like everyone is coming out of the woodwork to either take a jab or air out their grievances. The documentary kicks off by tracing Diddy's troubles back to November 2023, when his former romantic partner and protege, Cassie, filed a chilling lawsuit. This lawsuit, laced with allegations of sexual assault and coercion, served as the catalyst for a domino effect of accusations. It's almost as if, once Cassie's story broke, others felt emboldened to share their own, and the floodgates opened wide. For Diddy's legal team, this creates a near impossible situation. How do you build a defense when every week brings a new accuser, a new angle, and fresh details that make your previous strategy obsolete? The most jaw-dropping moment in the downfall of Diddy is perhaps the testimony of Suge Knight himself. Suge Knight, the man who is widely seen as Diddy's rival in the often violent feud between East Coast and West Coast rap labels in the 1990s. Yet here, Suge does something totally unexpected. He shows empathy. My first reaction is not the reaction I thought I would have when it came to Puffy. You know what I mean? I thought it'd be a reaction like he got what he got coming because everybody knows what's been going on. My reaction was actually different because I felt like, damn. The first thing that came to mind was Diddy's children. And the thing is, I feel it's a bad day for hip-hop, a bad day for the culture. It makes us all look bad, said Knight. Yes, Suge showed empathy for Diddy. Knight speaks about the impact the allegations are having on Diddy's children and the broader hip-hop community. His call for honesty and reconciliation feels almost surreal, especially given his own notorious history. It's as if, for once, Suge is the voice of reason in a case that gets messier by the day. Who saw that coming? But of course, nothing is ever as it seems in Hollywood, and the credibility of some of Diddy's accusers has already come under scrutiny. Take Rodney Lil Rod Jones, for instance. His attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, is reportedly under review by a federal disciplinary committee for allegedly using sensationalized accusations to pressure defendants into quick settlements. Blackburn's questionable tactics have cast doubt on the validity of Jones's claims, leaving many wondering, is this a genuine pursuit of justice, or are we watching an elaborate extortion attempt unfold before our eyes? And then there's Aubrey O'Day, the former Danity Kane singer who Diddy once managed. Her allegations? They go beyond mistreatment and dive into an almost dystopian narrative of grooming and intimidation. O'Day has stated that the emotional abuse she suffered altered the course of her life, claims that are difficult to ignore, especially given the power dynamics at play. The mistreatment is enough to change the course and the direction of my entire life. She further said, the mistreatment was enough for me to have to spend a good amount of time in the hands of professionals to learn what grooming is and unlearn the grooming. The treatment was so bad in some regards that I'm not ready to speak about it yet, but I will. Diddy, after all, was not just her manager, but one of the most powerful figures in the music industry at the time. How could she have stood up to him? Would anyone have listened if she had? While the allegations against Diddy are mounting, Hollywood's biggest stars are noticeably silent. Figures like Mary J. Blige, Snoop Dogg, and Justin Bieber, all of whom have been seen at Diddy's parties and events, have remained tight-lipped. This silence, too, speaks volumes. Could it be that they're waiting for more information before jumping into the fray? Or are they worried about becoming collateral damage in what feels like a sinking ship of a scandal? The stakes are high, and no one wants to be the first to throw a stone in a glass house. Still, amid all the chaos, some have chosen to remain loyal. One anonymous former employee was set to participate in the documentary but backed out at the last minute, allegedly out of fear. According to the source, working for Diddy comes with a lot of baggage, enemies who wouldn't hesitate to retaliate. I'm worried Diddy has many enemies. I'm afraid that if I give my thoughts on what I experienced, I may be ruled a target. I'm still on his side as far as my experience his enemies may come after me. East Coast versus West Coast still exists, the anonymous source wrote to TMZ producers. What does this say about the pressure and danger surrounding this case? case. If former employees are scared to speak, what kind of secrets are still hidden behind Diddy's empire? Mark Curry, another key figure in the documentary, took his allegations to the next level, claiming that Diddy physically abused him. But this isn't just hearsay. Curry's claims appear to be backed by some serious evidence. Federal authorities reportedly confiscated over 250 cameras from Diddy's home, and the footage they contained could be a game changer. If they have 250 cameras from his home, they have a whole bunch of images or footage of things that were going on in his house, Curry said. One can't help but wonder what is on those tapes. Is this the smoking gun that could finally bring Diddy down? Or will it, like so many other celebrity scandals, end up being swept under the rug? As the drama continues to unfold, one thing is certain. This case is far from over. Diddy's once glittering empire is under siege, and the world watches with bated breath. Will Diddy's legal team be able to navigate the storm, or are we witnessing the slow and steady collapse of a hip-hop titan? One can only sit back and wonder what twist will come next. Meanwhile, why are Diddy's friends cold and silent? Are they bigger suspects themselves, or what is the play here? Funnily, they are some of Hollywood's big shots, and now, surprisingly, they are quiet, and so rightfully asking, why are they silent? Hollywood big shots, silent on Diddy. Sean Diddy Combs, once the king of lavish parties filled with musicians, models, actors, and even royals, now finds himself locked up in New York's infamous Metropolitan Detention Center. He awaits a trial that could rock the foundation of Hollywood's elite. Despite this seismic shift, something peculiar is happening. Diddy's high-profile friends, Jay-Z, Jennifer Lopez, Usher, Naomi Campbell, and Justin Bieber, have remained eerily silent. Why aren't they speaking up for their friend, a man whose life seemed like one endless red carpet? In a society where celebrities are quick to take to Twitter and Instagram to air their thoughts on the latest scandal or trend, their silence is baffling. Is it fear, guilt, or is this just a strategic Hollywood move to protect their precious brands? Whatever the reason, their reticence speaks volumes. But before we arrive at the possible reasons as to why they are silent, let's rewind and understand a few dynamics around Hollywood. First and foremost, let's talk about what drives Hollywood. Reputation is the currency of the entertainment world, and nobody wants theirs to take a hit. In an industry where scandal can make or break a career, even a whisper of association with someone facing serious accusations like sex trafficking could be catastrophic. Eric Schiffer, CEO of Reputation Management Consultants, sums it up perfectly. He said, "Celebrities are silent because they are scared to death of their brands, bleeding out with fans over ties with Diddy, and worse, they fear if they cross him, things could end in disaster. Right now, it's all about self-preservation. Would you risk years of carefully building a public image for a single tweet defending a friend who might be guilty of heinous crimes?" Diddy's friends aren't just protecting their reputations, they're also avoiding retribution. Yes, Diddy might be in legal trouble, but he's still a powerhouse in the entertainment industry. His influence reaches far beyond music. He's built an empire across fashion, media, and business. Crossing him, even while he's in jail, could be career suicide. And with rumors swirling about freak-off videos being passed around the dark web, his friends might be afraid of being dragged into the scandal themselves. Could speaking up put a target on their backs? On a more personal level, this silence may be rooted in loyalty. Hollywood is notorious for being a tight-knit community where professional and personal lines blur. For people like Jay-Z and Usher, Diddy isn't just an industry peer, he's a friend. Turning their backs on him now could be seen as a betrayal, a move they may not be willing to make. This loyalty, however, is a double-edged sword. What happens when your friend is accused of something so dark and damning? Do you stand by them? Or is there a moral line that even Hollywood won't cross? Speaking of morality, not everyone is willing to let the silence slide. Megyn Kelly, for example, has been vocal about the need for Diddy's circle to speak out. In her podcast, she didn't mince words when she called out Justin Bieber, once Diddy's protege, for staying quiet. Bieber isn't implicated in any wrongdoing, but Kelly argues that if Bieber was ever a victim or knew about Diddy's alleged misconduct, he has a responsibility to say something. Justin Bieber, they're not alleging his name in any of this, but Justin was very young when he came into Diddy's circle, she said. She further mentioned, "There's no question he had a lot of exposure to this guy, and I think he should say something." It's a statement that hovers in the air like the unspoken tension at a Hollywood after-party. This silence is more than just a PR strategy. It says a lot about the cultural norms of Hollywood. In this world of glittering lights and relentless cameras, protecting one's image often trumps moral accountability. The decision to remain silent is less about the truth and more about survival. The scandal might blow over, but a tarnished reputation, that can haunt a celebrity forever. This raises bigger questions about the entertainment industry as a whole. How many other scandals have been swept under the rug to protect powerful figures like Diddy? What does it say about celebrity friendships when the stakes get high? But the pressure on Diddy's inner circle isn't going away anytime soon. As the trial looms closer and with every damning headline that gets published, the world is watching. Sooner or later, these celebrities will be forced to make make a choice. Will they continue to stay silent, or will they finally speak out? If they do, will their words be those of condemnation or support? And if we're being honest, how genuine would those words even be? Would they be trying to distance themselves from Diddy, or are they merely playing damage control to save their own skins? Hollywood thrives on spectacle, and this trial will likely be no different. It's not just Diddy's fate on the line. The reputations of everyone who ever partied with him are also at risk. Let's not forget, Hollywood has a long history of forgiving its fallen stars. Just look at figures like Roman Polanski or even Harvey Weinstein who, despite their misdeeds, still have supporters. Could Diddy's friends be banking on the public eventually forgetting the details of this case, allowing them to quietly resume their friendship after the dust settles? The entertainment industry has short memories when it comes to the sins of its beloved stars, especially if they've made enough money for the right people. It's obvious Diddy's friends have decided to keep shush, and that may not change anytime soon. However, there's yet another layer to Diddy's case. Seriously, when will these claims ever end? A former neighbor of Diddy has fresh claims, and shockingly, these claims might be damning for Diddy's legal team. Rosie O'Donnell's fresh claims. Rosie O'Donnell's explosive revelations about her former neighbor, Sean Diddy Combs, have rocked the entertainment world, adding fresh layers to an already scandalous case. In a candid and near 10-minute TikTok video, Rosie didn't just spill the tea, she emptied the whole kettle, revealing personal anecdotes and strong opinions that could spell trouble for the hip-hop mogul. Diddy, now embroiled in a legal nightmare involving charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping, could see his situation worsen in the court of public opinion and possibly in a real courtroom, all thanks to Rosie's fresh claims. The story begins on a peculiar but strangely relatable note. Sweatpants. Yes, sweatpants. Rosie recounted a New Year's Eve party where she and her family were personally invited by Diddy, only to be turned away at the door because of their casual attire. This moment, while seemingly trivial, has a certain irony that foreshadowed the more sinister revelations to come. Fast forward to the present day, and Diddy's glamorous facade has crumbled. With the rapper now facing charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping, Rosie, like many others, expressed her shock. Or do you just get to be so big like Harvey Weinstein did that he thought, well, I control Hollywood, I control the Oscars, I can sleep with any actress I want, whether they want to or not, she quipped. Yes, that Harvey Weinstein, convicted sex offender and the poster boy for Hollywood's #Me Too movement. Rosie didn't mince words when comparing the two, calling into question how someone like Diddy, who lives such a public life, could be involved in such monstrous activities behind closed doors. You think he could also be a rapist? What is he, Clark Kent? He gets in a cap and he is someone different? O'Donnell said. Give me a break. Too many people know him. Too many people would be involved. Too many people would have to participate in that in order for it to be true. Her comparison to Weinstein wasn't just to score a headline, but a chilling reminder that power and celebrity can conceal the darkest of deeds. But Rosie didn't stop there. She questioned Diddy's self-awareness in a way that only a comedian could. How can you not consider yourself a rapist if you're doing or participating in or filming or watching the rape? She asked bluntly. I don't understand it. I really don't. It's very disturbing. And then you start to think, how many people really knew that? Rosie was tapping into a larger conversation, one about how fame and wealth can shield people from taking responsibility for their actions. How many people, she wondered, had known about Diddy's alleged behavior and said nothing, just like those who had remained silent about Weinstein for years. Diddy's legal troubles took a major turn on September 16th when he was arrested in New York City, becoming a criminal defendant in a federal case. The charges against him are no small matter: racketeering conspiracy, sex, trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transporting individuals for prostitution. These accusations carry a minimum sentence of 15 years, with life imprisonment on the table. It's not the kind of scandal that a PR team can sweep under the rug. Now, here's where Rosie's claims could make things even worse for Diddy. In an already highly publicized case, Rosie's words add fuel to the fire. Her name carries weight, and her TikTok revelations have thrust her right into the spotlight, likely drawing more attention to the allegations against Diddy. Can you imagine the jury pool after Rosie's video goes viral? She's already swayed public opinion, making it that much harder for Diddy to escape the shadows of these accusations. And let's not forget the bizarre details that have emerged from the raids on Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami. Along with narcotics, police discovered over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Yes, you read that right. Sex trafficking? That's serious, man. And then they found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I'm gonna be thinking about that the rest of my life. Rosie joked. But there's an unnerving undercurrent to this strange find. It feeds the darker rumors about what really went on behind Diddy's closed doors, rumors that are no longer just tabloid fodder but part of a criminal investigation. Adding insult to injury, Diddy's legal team has been fighting tooth and nail to improve his detention conditions. His lawyers described the conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn as horrific and not fit for pretrial detention. You almost want to feel a sliver of sympathy, right? But then you remember the charges, the potential victims, and those 1,000 bottles of lube, and suddenly that sympathy vanishes into thin air. Still, Diddy's repeated bail requests have been denied, which speaks volumes about the severity of the charges. The judge isn't budging, and neither is the media frenzy surrounding the case. Rosie's revelations aren't just gossip. They become part of a larger cultural reckoning about power, privilege, and accountability in the entertainment industry. This isn't just about Diddy anymore. It's about the systems that allow individuals to get away with anything as long as they have enough fame and money to cover it up. Rosie O'Donnell has done more than just raise eyebrows. She's potentially shaped the narrative of this case. Her neighborly experiences with Diddy may have started with sweatpants, but they've ended with a scandal that's threatening to bury the rapper under a mountain of legal troubles. The world will be watching as this saga unfolds, and one thing's for sure, Rosie's voice won't be drowned out. She's making sure of that. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to watch another fascinating video like this, click on one of the boxes on your screen right now.